Have you ever had someone in your life, a coworker, a family member, a friend, or someone that you've known for a long time, and you thought you knew who they were and you knew much about them, only to come to realize that you don't truly know who that person is? That has happened to me a few times. And what I've done in the last few years was to be intentional about getting to know who people are. Just today, I sat down with a friend and I initiated the conversation and I said, hey, let's just get together and talk. And after asking several questions, I came to learn that there are so many things I didn't know. I believe I knew only about probably 10% of who the person is. I came to learn so many things about them. And just through asking some questions. And today, I just want to help you understand how to learn more about people, but also how to connect with people at a deeper level. Because whether we like it or not, we are all naturally wired to want to share our story. We want to talk about us. We want to talk about the experiences that we've had. We want to talk about the places that we've gone. We want to talk about what we've done with our spouses and our kids and our jobs and our businesses. We have stories to tell. The biggest challenge we have in the world we live in today is that we don't have a consistent platform that enables us to tell those stories. The world is moving so fast. I have a family, I have a wife and two kids, I have a business, I have employees, I have a team that I'm building, I have clients that I'm serving, and it's possible for me to be caught up in doing all those things and neglect the relationship part of me. Most of us are busy. We never get to slow down to actually ask people questions. That's why I decided a few years ago that I'm going to be more intentional. I'm still growing, I'm still getting there, but I believe I'm doing a better job than I was doing 4 years ago. So I'm going to walk you through the process of really getting to know people. And by the way, these are the people that you truly want to connect with. I'm not going to force you to connect with just anyone, but the people that you care about, the people that you want to know, how to truly connect with them authentically without just asking questions for the sake of it. The process is simpler than you might think. It's very simple. And we use this process whether we are out there networking, business networking, or connecting with people, or if we go to any of the galas and receptions and cocktail parties, the process works the same. So whether you have a team, if you want to learn more about your team, or you're an executive who runs a company, or a business owner, or a mom or a dad, it doesn't matter. The process works the same. So here's a fundamental question that we should all ask, or at least a version of it we should ask anyone we meet with. Number one, who are you? Every single person wants to know who they are, what they're all about, what they're meant to be, what they were born to do. And that question, who am I, is a question that people ask all the time. It's giving them an opportunity to share their story, to talk about them, an opportunity that they rarely get, but you got to be intentional to learn about other people. So number one is who are you? You might be surprised. And if you've never tried asking this question, just go ahead and do it. But one of the things you're going to find, and I've found this very consistently, I would say about 70 to 90% of the people don't know how to answer this question because they are not used to being asked that question. About a week ago, I was speaking at an event, and right before I spoke, I started talking to a small group of people, and I went one by one asking people about them. There was one guy, tall, really nice guy, very friendly, and I asked him, who are you? He couldn't tell me who he was. He said a few words here and there, and eventually said, I'm a family man. My wife takes care of the kids, and she does a great job. And he went on and on. He did a good job, but not a great job. The point is not to embarrass anyone, but it's for me to want to know about them. So most of the people don't know how to respond to that question because they rarely get asked that question, again, by the fact that we are all wrapped around ourselves. So you need to be the exception, the person who gives people the opportunity to tell their story, to talk about themselves. So ask them that question, who are you? To make it easier for them, what I like to do is say, so let me ask you a question. If I was to meet someone who knows you very well, someone who is a family member or a friend, what are they going to tell me about you? And that makes it a little bit easier for them. If the person is called John, I'll say, hey, who is John? And they'll say something like, John is a friendly person. John is a family man. John works in this place. John has this many years of experience. They get to talk about themselves when you make it easier for them. My goal is to get them to share their story, tell me who they are. And then I'm going to ask several questions. So question number one is, who are you? And number two is, what drives you? What really gets you up in the morning? What's your purpose for living? What makes you tick? And those are variations of the same question. What really drives you? Number three is, what are you focusing on? What are you working on right now? If someone has a job, they might say, hey, I'm working on my next promotion. I'm working on developing my team. I'm working on putting a team together. I'm working on taking my company to the next level, whatever that is. And what I'm trying to do when you ask people, what are you working on? You are getting them to talk about their dreams and their goals. You are getting them to leap to the future. And again, the future is always exciting. That's why every single year we sit down, come up with the New Year resolutions. We talk about our goals and our dreams and all the things we are going to do. Now, we don't always do them, but it feels good when you talk about them. So you want them to talk about the future, their projects, what they're working on. And then you come down to the present and ask one more question. And you say, okay, so now you told me who you are. You've told me what drives you, what makes you tick. You told me what you're working on. What's one thing I can do for you? What's one thing I can do for you? I've experimented with different ways of asking this question. And what I found is that this particular way of asking makes it easy for them to respond. When you ask people, what can I do for you? That's very general. They go through their mentor database and all the things they want to do. They want to gain a new skill. They want to hire a new person. They want to grow their market share. They want to get a mentor. There are so many things. And when they go through all that list, it to an extent paralyzes them. They are likely to tell you, I don't know, or let me think about it, or let me pray about it. But since I want to get an answer, then I say, Isaac, when you think about the things you're focusing on right now, when you think about the project you're working on, or when you think about the dreams and goals that you have right now, what's one thing I can do for you? I'm helping them to narrow down to tell me what they need based on what they just shared with me. And that makes it easy for me to help them with something specific. 4 questions. Who are you? What drives you? What makes you tick? What are you focusing on right now? And what's one thing I can do for you? If you ask those questions, I can guarantee you, you'll be able to connect with people at a very personal level. It also makes you different. Now, I know that's not your goal. You're not trying to get praises and accolades, but you become different. You cut yourself out of the crowd and you become a totally different professional because you're doing something that most of the people never do. You're asking questions that most of the people never ask. What can I do for you? What are you working on? What drives you? What makes you tick? So some of the things I've learned that can help you to connect with people at a very personal level. So if you have that friend, that family member, that coworker, that business colleague, that mentor that you've never asked these questions, you need to ask them these questions, or maybe you can add a few more. Probably you have better questions than mine, but these are some fundamental questions you can ask. And that's how you get to know more about them. And why do you need to know about people anyway? When you get to know about who the person is, what their dreams are, what their aspirations are, what they're working on, what makes them tick, then you can position yourself to add value to them without any expectation. You get to become a part of their story, which according to me is very valuable. So when you add value to them, when you make them feel good, when you ask those questions, you get an opportunity to add value to someone else, which I believe is significant. As always, let me know if there's anything I can help you with. I'll see you in the next video.